Hello, fellow Apterians. This is Bruce Nelson, an Aptera volunteer brand ambassador, and I have some news to report today that's very interesting for me, and I think it might be for you too. Aptera has just issued their annual SEC report, and besides the financial information, there are some interesting statements about the general purpose of Aptera, and I'd like to read from the report for you a little bit to report this. It begins that Aptera Motors Corporation is a private automotive company, and I'm going to skip some of this. The principal business is the development, production, and distribution of energy-efficient solar-powered vehicles. Our mission is to build the most efficient transportation on the planet. Science drives our approach to building better vehicles, and the result is something that can travel as far as 100 miles on a single charge. We believe that our focus on efficiency will benefit the planet by using our resources more wisely and polluting less. Throughout the year, our testing and validation will help us launch into production with a reliable version of the Aptera in 2022, that's this year. We plan to begin our earliest deliveries in late 2022 and then ramp up production in 2023. Of course, this is what's known as a forward-looking statement, and there's still a lot of things that could happen between now and then, but I think it's quite comforting to know that they are on track for deliveries this year if unforeseen circumstances don't occur. So that's some really good news. They next talk a little bit about their competitive advantages. We aim to modernize vehicle design and manufacturing. Steel stamping, the common method for manufacturing vehicles, makes the manufacturing process inefficient and it's significantly more expensive. With additive manufacturing, the company can scale production and launch new models more quickly. With generative part design, we use artificial intelligence to optimize parts for the greatest strength and the least amount of material and weight. And our resin-infused sandwich core construction produces lightweight composite structures many times stronger than typical steel-based vehicle designs. This is something that I've been very excited about, and it's something that's not so much talked about in the general Reddit media, but I think it's one of the reasons that Reddit is likely, that Aptera is likely to do very, very well. So they continue with these bullet points on manufacturing. There's lower manufacturing costs, and that this will allow us to use inexpensive and simple tooling, fewer robots, fewer people, no welding, and rapid and inexpensive scaling. The additive manufacturing strategy gives us the advantage of 3D printed tooling versus milled and finished metal tools. Reduced part weights and count. It allows for humans to easily position parts, and it makes things easy and cheap to assemble. There's less labor required and less space. Our modularized build and human positionable parts requires less labor and less space than traditional steel vehicle manufacturing. And you might just make a comparison to the mega presses that Tesla is using, and their cost and size and lead time compared to a 3D printed tool that can be produced in a matter of perhaps a week or so. It goes on and says further, solar power will be an integral part of our platform. And our distribution strategy leverages several lessons from Tesla. We're going to use direct to consumer sales, online promotions, test drive scheduling and events in key markets, regional pre-delivery, warehousing and lease facility, which doesn't require a lot of investment in capital. They're going to have the Southern California rollout initially and major metro areas soon after. I'll just comment that I actually plan to go to the factory to pick up my Aptera, even though I live here in Iowa now. They also expect to do mobile service house calls, and it's a model that's been proven globally by Tesla, and it's one that Aptera also plans to adopt. So the first vehicle that Aptera launches is the one that you've also all seen pictures of. It's 177 inches in overall length, 88 inches in overall width, and 57 inches in overall height. It's got a cargo capacity of 25 cubic feet, passenger seating for 2 adults plus a pet, important for us. They're going to have 3 different interior options. Pricing will run from $25,900 to $46,900 and plus, depending on some additional options. And depending on the order configuration and the timing, the way it works out, deliveries may start at the end of this year. There's a number of premium features that can be ordered that include exterior colors that would allow them to create a vehicle that's unique to you. An enhanced audio with an extra 3 channels of audio for deeper bass and sound depth. That's something I've ordered for mine. The safety pilot, which has level 2 autonomy capabilities. It's also over-the-air updatable. That's also something that I've ordered. They'll have a safety divider and accessories that will allow you to secure a pet while driving. An integrated tent and rear awning that's going to be used for camping. Right now, initial configurations I've seen allow for storage of that in a frunk in the front of the vehicle, so it can be ready to take out whenever you need it. And they're going to have an off-road version that supplies more clearance and tougher wheel covers. Even though I live on a gravel road here in Iowa, I don't think that's something that I'm going to really need. I plan to immediately drive to Death Valley and go camping with my wife when we pick it up. So if the off-road version is a necessity, we'll find out pretty quickly. So having worked in the environmental field for decades, this next section in the annual report is something that's very dear to my heart and important in my backing of Aptera. It says, if Aptera produces 1 million vehicles, we'll reduce our CO2 footprint by 7 million tons per year. Each Aptera owner can reduce the carbon footprint by over 14,000 pounds of CO2 per year, what 884 25-year-old pine trees can absorb in a year. Now, this assumes average driving rates. For those of us who drive more or less, of course, those figures will be somewhat different personally. If 1 out of every 20 internal combustion vehicles on the road were replaced by an Aptera, Americans would save 18 million gallons of gasoline every day, or 6 billion gallons per year, and that's assuming an average of 20 miles per gallon for those ICE vehicles. I see Aptera as being part of a major reduction in our reliance on petroleum fuels. They think the addressable market size is around 600,000 two-place roadster type vehicles per year, and right now the annual report says over 18,000. We know that the number of pre-orders has gone through 20,000 now, and the numbers are coming in quite a bit more rapidly than they have been in the past months. There's a section on competition, which is a risk to potential market share, and also competing for capital that the company will need to continue to operate. As at the time of the filing, they had 89 full-time employees and 14 part-time, and none of them had any pension, annuity, profit sharing, or similar employee benefit plans, although those could well be adopted in the future. You can also look at the report for executive compensation and some of those figures. The next section I want to continue here is the intellectual property statement. We filed for 9 patents and our patent process is ongoing. Pending patent applications include 3 design patents, 4 provisional, and 2 non-provisional patent applications. These patents cover our dynamic shape, solar integration, and manufacturing techniques, and trade secrets, which currently cover other technologies, such as novel skin cooling methods. To date, we've relied on copyright, trademark, and trade secret laws, as well as confidentiality procedures and licensing agreements to establish and protect intellectual property rights to our vehicle cooling method, process technologies, and vehicle designs. We typically enter into confidentiality or license agreements with employees, consultants, consumers, and vendors in an effort to control access to and distribution of technology, software, documentation, and other information. Policing unauthorized use of this technology is difficult, and the steps taken may not prevent misappropriation of the technology, and effective protection may be unavailable or limited in some jurisdictional areas of the U.S. Aptera probably is one of the most open companies that I've ever seen, especially at the startup stage. And I know in some of the videos there's been complaints about not going into some of the details, but I think this section explains quite well why some of the detailed information may not be included in the videos that they're making, because until these vehicles get on the road, there's still some intellectual property that needs to be protected. I, for one, am really grateful for the information that has been released. The next section goes into the R&D expenses and tax and things like that, which may be very interesting to some of you. My general conclusion is that they are investing significantly in development of the technology. It looks like going into production, they could possibly need around another 50 million to get to where they want to be into mass production. But based on the money raising rate that they've had in this past year and the way they spent it, I think that they're very likely to have the funding that they need to get our cars to us. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm sure there's other people more knowledgeable than I that are also going to be commenting on this news. And I, for one, am really excited to be driving my Aptera. And when my wife and I take delivery, we're certainly going to be talking about it. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.